After a weekend off, last night, so Sunday night, I did just go through my emails and mentally set up what I was going to be doing. We are basically over the next 4 or 5 weeks doing loads of script writing, and I have a team of writers who are working with me, so I've been sending them out the briefs to get started. Right, anyway, coffee made. Had a work inquiry come in, and this is the second time this has happened where somebody has asked me whether I can make a podcast, and it's because they have Googled freelance podcast, trying to find somebody who can make a podcast on a freelance basis, and then found me because I make a podcast about being freelance. But yes, they're from a really well-respected university. What was quite cool was that when I replied, I said, actually I've been working on a lot of videos as well as audio in the learning sphere, and they were like, videos, and then made a request about that as well. So anyway, we'll see where that turns out. And then last night there is the Hearts Hour Twitter chat. Last night I got recommended, along with a couple of other video pros in this area, when somebody was asking for recommendations for video production companies. So I need to follow that up this morning. Actually, I sent a little tweet last night, but that lady has got in touch with me again, so I need to follow that up. But yeah, it just goes to show that it's worth getting involved in those kind of things. Okay, I have to say this because it feels like quite a big deal. I keep thinking, I could do with some help on certain things, just like admin type things. Some of it I think, is this the best use of my time? I have been aware of a few virtual assistants, one of which I met on, I haven't met them, but I started following them on Twitter through a conversation via one of those Twitter chats, actually. Yeah, I've been following them, I've checked out some of their blog posts, they seem really sound, and I've been thinking, what could I get them to help me with? Yesterday, I got the virtual digital equivalent of somebody coming in with a load of paperwork, dumping it on my desk and saying, yeah, this is kind of what you need, but it's in the wrong order, and some of it's upside down, we haven't labelled it properly and it's not in the right folders, but technically what you need, it's in here. That's what happened. And I was like, okay, but there's like 55. I sat down to do that myself, and then I thought, this is crazy. I've got other things to do. Why don't I ask somebody who's better at doing this kind of thing than I am? So I have sent an email to a virtual assistant and basically asked, is this the kind of thing that you can help with? And are you available? So we will see what they say. It would be amazing if they can. And it would also be quite a nice way to test out, like delegating that kind of thing. Just got a message that my wife has landed back from Ibiza into this glorious weather. So I'm not going to pick up our son first. I'm going to see if I can get her from the airport, because that'll be nice. Just before I left the house, I got a reply from the VA who I messaged earlier, saying she's available, not today but tomorrow, and we'll send over a contract. It's always interesting seeing how different people work. Like even the small details, like saying, yes, I can do it, but I can't do it today, I can do it tomorrow. Things like that, when it can be tempting to say, sure, I can do it today, or like I'll send over a contract. And she clearly stated what her rate was and how she liked to bill. I like details like that. Anyway, let's go get the missus. So it's just gone 11:30 Tuesday night. Following on from finding it interesting how other people work, the VA sent me a really nice contract to sign using Adobe Sign, which I'd not had to use before. And that was a nice experience. I don't know what it's like for her, but as a client in this instance, it was a really seamless, nice, professional experience. It's funny, that is the first contract, I think,
for when hiring somebody else that I've had to sign. And I have hired a lot of people. However, I totally see why from her point of view when you read her terms. You know, as a virtual assistant, there is a lot of trust being put on, potentially, you know, depending on what you were working on, in terms of confidentiality, access to systems. She mentions about like the professional indemnity insurance that she's covered for. And all of that also, of course, gives a nice sense of confidence to me as the client. And I mention this just because I always find it interesting, like I say, seeing how it feels to be the client. And also was following up on that lead that came via Twitter. They connected with me on LinkedIn. I sent them a message. We're going to do a Skype call on Monday, see if I can help them with their video stuff in whatever way that might be. Interestingly, she said that she had watched my vlog and enjoyed it. So in fact, she might see this. Hello, if that's the case. But mentioned that she'd enjoyed it and felt that she had kind of got to know me by watching it already. And that is such a huge, powerful thing about video. And I'm not saying that in order to sell video as a video bloke. It's just true. All of the people I follow on Instagram stories, I feel like I know them. And Pippa, who I'm meeting tomorrow for coffee, I feel like I know her, mainly because I have watched her. It's that visual, doing her weekly Twitter show, you know, her Periscope show all about social media. And I've watched that a lot, regularly, over time, and feel like I've got to know her through it. Yeah, it's not to be shrugged off, I don't think. Anyway, the cat's looking at me. Time for bed. I've come for a coffee with Social Pip. Look how quaint this is. Oh look, there she is. This is so English.
Lovely, isn't it?
The PA who I hired probably this time yesterday, I had the idea I should ask her to help me. First thing this morning, did everything. I could see the files dropping into my Dropbox. You know how you get that notification? That was quite satisfying. And I got sent a timesheet. She uses the Toggle app, so I could see how long it took her. So yes, that was actually a great experience. So, as you know, I've been working on this massive project for, since last October, really. And next week is the final shoot for this first stage before they launch their learning platform. And I wanted to get a gift for the main person who I deal with, who has also become an interviewer and a director and a film production coordinator. Like, she's learned all these new skills. And I'm really pleased for her, really proud of her. She loves it. Anyway, because of all those newfound film skills which she never knew she had, I have bought her one of these. It's a light box, but in the style of a clapperboard, and when you turn the film clapperboard down, the light comes on. And I've filled it all in with the details of their shoot. So I've just got to wrap that. Thankfully, I have found some nice paper because most of the stuff we have here is designed for kids. Got to wrap this and then get to the post office pronto so that I don't miss them.
Friday night. It's been a productive day. But one of the things I'm doing is compiling all the scripts that my team of writers have been putting together during the week to send to New York. The great thing I've realised about working with people in New York, of course, is that when they say I need this by the end of the day, that means we have until 10 p.m. That's actually my kind of deadline. It means I can sort of chill out at about 4:30, take care of the kids. It's now 7:30, they're in bed. My wife will be home soon, so I've got a Chinese takeaway ordered to be delivered. I'm going to grab that beer, send these scripts over, and then, after chatting to the missus and having some Chinese, I need to edit this week's podcast. It's been a lovely weekend, and in amongst all the hanging out with the kids and family stuff and doing little bits of work here and there and finishing off the John Hicks podcast, which is awesome, by the way. Hey, I'm Steve Holland. How are you doing? Thanks. Hey, I'm Steve. With 15 years of freelance, he has a lot of experience to share and some great stories as well. But in amongst all of that, I couldn't help but have this nagging thing going on in my head saying, what else can you get that VA to help you with? And actually, when I essentially said that to Sadie, the VA, she sent me a really helpful list. It was like 3 questions to ask yourself to think about how you could, delegate things, basically. It was really useful. It was a great idea on her behalf. But also, when I mentioned to her, for me, bookkeeping is quite an issue. Instead of saying, oh yeah, I can help you with that, for sure, blah, 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 and pouncing on that opportunity, she instead said, well, I find that some freelancers find setting aside X amount of time on a certain day each week, blah, blah, blah. As in, she gave me useful advice to keep doing it myself, but just do it better. And I thought, how cool is that? That's a really good way to do business, to help people rather than just sell to them. So, yes, I feel like I need to figure that out and do more of it. I don't know what your experience is. Do you use a virtual assistant at all? That's just one experience, but I want to do more. I feel like that's been a good lesson to learn this week.